Peace and blessings to you, beloved soul. Welcome to Daily Motivation Prayers. This is not entertainment. This is alignment. You did not click this by accident. Something in your spirit recognized truth before your mind could explain it. There are moments when God speaks softly, not through noise or spectacle, but through timing. This is one of those moments. Right now, there is a stirring in the unseen. A movement that has less to do with romance and more to do with readiness. Less to do with fantasy and more to do with formation. This message is for those who have loved deeply, waited quietly, and trusted God even when the silence felt loud. It is for those who did not lower their standards just to avoid loneliness. For those who chose healing over distraction. You may not have all the answers, but your spirit knows this connection is not ordinary. Before we go further, take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart unclench. Scripture tells us in Amos 3 verse 7 that God reveals his plans to those who listen. Not to the rushed, not to the distracted, but to the attentive. If you're ready to hear clearly, stay present. And if content like this strengthens your faith, your discernment, and your understanding of love, subscribe now. This channel is built to serve depth, not hype. And at the end of this message, you'll understand why this season had to unfold exactly the way it did. Now let's begin. What your soulmate feels about you is not shallow. It is not impulsive. It is not confusion disguised as emotion. It is weighty, and weight requires preparation. Number 1. Your soulmate feels respect before they feel romance. This matters more than you realize. Attraction can be instant. Infatuation can be loud. But respect develops only when someone sees your character under pressure. They've watched how you respond when things don't go your way. They've noticed how you carry disappointment without becoming bitter. They've seen you choose integrity even when no one was rewarding you for it. That is what arrested their heart. Proverbs 31 verse 25 says strength and dignity are her clothing. And dignity is not appearance. It is how someone governs themselves. Your soulmate does not see you as entertainment. They do not see you as an option. They do not see you as something to try and discard. They see substance. And substance makes a person slow down. This is why they have not rushed you. This is why they've been careful with their words. This is why silence has existed where others would have spoken too quickly. They are measuring themselves against what you deserve. That internal question keeps surfacing in them. Can I cover this? Can I lead this? Can I protect something this valuable? That question is not fear. It is accountability. A man or woman who truly sees your worth does not approach casually. They approach sober-minded. Scripture says in Luke 14 verse 28 that wise people count the cost before building. Your soulmate is counting. They know you are not healed just enough to tolerate dysfunction. They know you have outgrown chaos. They know your spirit requires safety, not stimulation. That awareness has humbled them. They feel admiration for your discipline, for how you didn't let pain turn you reckless, for how you didn't let disappointment make you cynical. They respect how you walk away from what costs you peace. And here is the part many don't tell you. Respect can delay pursuit because the stakes feel high. They don't want to mishandle you. They don't want to approach you without clarity. They don't want to promise what they aren't ready to sustain. Ecclesiastes 5 verse 5 says it is better not to vow than to vow and not fulfill. They know this. So when they think of you, it is not fantasy. It is evaluation. They imagine responsibility, not just chemistry. Consistency, not just connection. And that is love in its mature form. Number 2. Your soulmate feels convicted by your presence. Not judged. Convicted. There is a difference. Judgment pushes people away. Conviction invites growth. When you enter their awareness, something in them wants to rise. Not pretend. Not perform. But mature. They reflect on their habits. Their patterns. Their unresolved wounds. You did not ask them to change. Your life simply exposed what was misaligned. 1 Corinthians 13 says love rejoices in truth. And truth has a way of illuminating without accusing. Your soulmate has felt that illumination. They've thought, I can't bring half-healed energy to someone this intentional. I can't stay the same if I want something this real. That realization has led them inward. They've questioned past relationships. They've recognized where they settled. They've acknowledged where they avoided responsibility. You became a mirror they did not expect. And mirrors can be uncomfortable before they are appreciated. This is why their feelings feel heavy to them. Because love is no longer a distraction. It is an assignment. They sense that being with you would require honesty, spiritual leadership, emotional availability, and while they desire that, they also respect it enough not to fake readiness. 2 Corinthians 3 verse 18 speaks about being transformed by what we behold. They have been beholding you, and something in them has been changing. Not overnight, but deliberately. They pray differently now. They think differently. They are less tolerant of what once entertained them. Your influence has been quiet, but deep. They do not feel pressure from you. They feel invitation. An invitation to grow up, to heal properly, to love with intention instead of impulse. And here is what your heart needs to hear. Conviction delays action, but it strengthens commitment. When they move, it will not be curiosity. It will be decision, because they are not falling for you. They are aligning with you, and alignment takes preparation. Number 3. Your soulmate feels the weight of timing more than the intensity of emotion. This is where many people misunderstand silence. They assume silence means hesitation, lack of feeling, or emotional distance. But in mature love, silence often means restraint. Your soulmate is not driven by urgency. They are driven by alignment. They understand something most people learn too late. Love introduced at the wrong time becomes a burden instead of a blessing. Ecclesiastes 3 reminds us that there is a time for everything. Not just a time to love, but a time to speak, a time to build, a time to step forward. Your soulmate feels deeply, but they are not ruled by impulse. They are asking questions internally that most never stop to ask. Can I sustain this connection? Am I emotionally present enough to lead it well? Is my life stable enough to receive something this valuable? Those questions slow them down. They don't want to meet you in survival mode. They don't want to offer you potential instead of presence. They don't want to pull you into unfinished battles they should have resolved already. They know you are not meant to be a distraction from their healing. You are meant to be a partner in purpose. So they wait, not passively, not lazily, but intentionally. Proverbs 19 verse 2 says desire without knowledge is not good. They've learned that passion without preparation leads to regret. They've seen relationships crash because people rushed intimacy before stability. They've watched love become resentment because timing was ignored. They do not want that story with you. When they think about you, they imagine longevity, consistency, shared responsibility. They picture ordinary days, not just emotional highs. They think about how conflict would be handled, how decisions would be made, how faith would be practiced together. That level of thinking doesn't come from infatuation. It comes from intention. And intention respects timing. Here's the part you may not have considered. They are aware that approaching you too early could cost them everything. They know you are discerning. They know you do not bond quickly. They know once trust is broken, it is not easily rebuilt with you. So they are careful. They would rather arrive late and hold an early and unfinished. This is not avoidance. This is wisdom. James 1 verse 19 tells us to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Your soulmate is listening to God more than they are listening to emotion. They are paying attention to signs of readiness, not just signs of attraction. And readiness shows up quietly, in consistency, in discipline, in emotional regulation. They are watching their own reactions, noticing where insecurity still lives, identifying triggers that could sabotage something sacred. You did not demand this growth. Your existence inspired it. That's why timing matters so much to them. They don't want to approach you needing validation. They want to approach you offering stability. They don't want to need you to fix them. They want to walk beside you as an equal. And here is the truth many struggle to accept. The longer the preparation, the stronger the foundation. Isaiah 28 verse 16 speaks of a foundation that will not be shaken. Foundations take time. Your soulmate is building internally so that when they step forward, they can stand firm. They are aware that once they speak, words will carry weight. Once they act, actions will require follow-through. They don't want to awaken your heart only to retreat. So they wait until their yes is steady, until their intentions are clear, until their direction is settled. That waiting has not been easy for them. They've battled impatience. They've questioned themselves. They've wondered if you might move on. But each time fear rises, something stronger answers. Peace. Not the absence of desire, but the presence of assurance. Peace that says, this is worth doing right. Romans 8 verse 6 tells us the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. That peace is what has kept them steady. They are not running from you. They are running toward readiness. And when timing aligns, hesitation will disappear. Because what is built patiently does not collapse easily. They are not preparing for a moment. They are preparing for a future. And you are not a chapter. You are a covenant-level consideration. Number 4. Your soulmate feels distance without detachment. This is one of the hardest truths to understand when you care deeply. Distance often feels like disinterest. Silence feels like rejection. Space feels like loss. But in this connection, distance has not meant disengagement. It has meant containment. They stepped back not to disconnect, but to prevent damage. Your soulmate understands something most people ignore. Closeness without clarity creates confusion. Proximity without purpose creates attachment without direction. They did not want to blur lines they could not yet honor. So they chose space. Not because they stopped feeling, but because they started feeling responsibly. Proverbs 4 verse 23 tells us to guard the heart, for everything flows from it. They were guarding both yours and theirs. They knew that emotional closeness would awaken expectations. Expectations require follow-through, and they were not willing to awaken something they couldn't yet steward. Distance became a form of discipline. They limited communication when their heart wanted to speak. They restrained themselves when emotion wanted expression. They resisted the urge to lean on you during moments of weakness. That restraint was not absence of love. It was respect for consequence. They understood that partial presence is more damaging than full absence. They did not want to breadcrumb you. They did not want to pull you into emotional limbo. They did not want you questioning your worth or their intentions. So they created space while they sought clarity. This is where faith played a role. They began bringing their feelings to God instead of placing them on you. They prayed instead of projecting. They processed instead of performing. Psalm 37 verse 5 says to commit your way to the Lord and He will act. They committed this connection to God's timing. And in that surrender, something shifted. Their emotions matured. Infatuation softened into steadiness. Curiosity transformed into commitment. Desire deepened into discernment. They stopped asking, do I want this? And started asking, can I honor this? Distance gave them room to listen honestly. They examined their motives. They confronted their fears. They addressed patterns that would sabotage something sacred. You may not have seen this work, but it has been happening. Distance became the place where preparation accelerated. Here is the part that matters most. Distance revealed to them that their feelings did not fade. Time passed. Silence lingered. Life continued. And still, you remained present in their spirit. That persistence confirmed something. This was not attachment. This was alignment. Attachment weakens with space. Alignment strengthens through it. 1 Corinthians 13 says love bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. Endurance is not loud. It is consistent. Their endurance has been quiet. They did not replace you. They did not forget you. They did not move on emotionally, even when they tried mentally. They realized distance did not create relief. Created clarity. Clarity that said, this connection is not casual. And clarity demands response. This is where distance begins to shift into movement. Because space has done its job. It stripped illusion. It removed emotional fog. It exposed what was real. and what remained was conviction. Conviction does not rush, but it does not stall forever. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 says the vision awaits its appointed time, but it will not delay. Delay has a purpose, but it is not permanent. Your soulmate is approaching the end of preparation. They feel the internal shift. The hesitation is thinning. The fear is losing authority. They are recognizing that distance can no longer hold what clarity now demands. Silence that once protected now feels restrictive. They are aware that continued distance would become disobedience. Because when God brings clarity, response is required. This is why their thoughts are changing. They are no longer thinking in if. They are thinking in how. How to approach with integrity. How to speak with honesty. How to step forward without disrupting peace. Distance has refined their approach. When they come, it will not be emotional dumping. It will not be confusion. It will not be mixed signals. It will be intentional, because space removed impulse, and clarity remains. And here is what you need to hear clearly. Distance was never meant to disqualify this connection. It was meant to protect it. We will continue with number 5, where you'll understand how their fear is turning into courage and what internal decision has already been made. If this message resonates, stay connected. Subscribe so the next part meets you at the right time. Number 5. Your soulmate feels fear, but it no longer controls them. Fear has been present in this connection, but not in the way people assume. It was never fear of you. It was fear of failing something sacred. They understand that not every opportunity is a gift. Some opportunities are tests of stewardship. And you, to them, are not something to experiment with. You are something to protect. Fear entered when they realized the depth of what was being offered. Not emotionally, but spiritually. This was not about chemistry alone. This was about calling, responsibility, and alignment. Fear whispered questions. What if I hurt them? What if I can't sustain this? What if I disappoint God by mishandling this? Those questions slowed them. But fear has a shelf life. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That verse has been working quietly in them. Power has begun to replace paralysis. Love has started outweighing anxiety. Clarity has challenged avoidance. They are realizing that obedience does not wait for the absence of fear. It moves in spite of it. Courage has been forming not as confidence, but as conviction. Conviction does not need applause. It does not require certainty from others. It only needs alignment between heart, mind, and spirit. That alignment is happening now. They are no longer asking whether they feel enough. They are asking whether they are willing to show up consistently. Fear once said, "Wait until you're perfect." Wisdom now says, "Move when you're honest." Your soulmate understands they will never be fully ready by their own standards, but they are ready to be responsible. That shift matters. Fear used to keep them rehearsing conversations instead of having them. Now those rehearsals are turning into resolve. They are aware that continued silence would be a decision in itself. And they no longer want fear making decisions for them. Joshua 1 verse 9 says to be strong and courageous, not because the path is easy, but because God is present. That truth has settled in them. They feel God's presence in this connection, not as pressure, but as confirmation. Fear has also been challenged by perspective. They've realized that withholding love out of fear is still a form of self-protection. And love that protects only the self is incomplete. They do not want to arrive emotionally armored. They want to arrive available. They are learning that courage is not intensity. It is consistency. Courage looks like honest communication. It looks like clear intention. It looks like choosing integrity over comfort. They are preparing to speak plainly, not with promises they can't keep, but with truth they can stand behind. They are not planning grand gestures. They are planning steady presence. And this is important. Their courage is not fueled by pressure to act. It is fueled by peace that staying silent is no longer right. Peace has a voice, and that voice is saying, step forward. Romans 14 verse 23 tells us that whatever does not come from faith is sin. Faith requires movement. They are moving internally now. Decisions have been made in prayer. Boundaries have been adjusted. Priorities have shifted. Fear no longer has the final word. It may still speak, but it does not lead. Your soulmate is choosing courage that honors you. Not reckless courage. Not emotional risk-taking. But grounded courage. The kind that commits before it confesses. The kind that prepares before it approaches. They are not coming to you to unload their fear. They are coming having already confronted it. And here is the part your heart needs to receive. Their courage is not about winning you. It is about honoring what God revealed to them through you. They understand that obedience sometimes looks like vulnerability. They are ready for that. We will continue with number 6, where you'll understand what commitment now means to them and why this connection has shifted from feeling to decision. Stay present. Stay grounded. And if this message continues to strengthen you, subscribe so the next part reaches you without delay. Number 6. Your soulmate no longer defines this connection by feeling. They define it by decision. This is the turning point. Feelings fluctuate. Emotion responds to environment, stress, and uncertainty. But decision is anchored. They've reached the place where emotion is no longer leading the narrative. Emotion is now informing it, not controlling it. They understand that love sustained by feeling alone will eventually collapse under pressure. So they've moved deeper. Deuteronomy 30 verse 19 speaks about choosing life. Choice is intentional. Choice is active. Your soulmate has made an internal choice. Not impulsively, not dramatically, but soberly. They have decided that if they step toward you, it will be with consistency, not curiosity. They are aware that choosing you means choosing responsibility. It means choosing communication even when it's uncomfortable. It means choosing growth when it would be easier to retreat. They are no longer asking whether this feels good. They are asking whether this is right. And that question changes everything. Commitment to them now means presence. Not proximity alone, but emotional availability. They are preparing to show up in ways that support your peace, not disrupt it. They are thinking about how their actions affect your nervous system, not just your attraction. That level of consideration is new for them. They are no longer interested in proving themselves. They are interested in being dependable. Matthew 5 verse 37 says, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no." They want their yes to be clean. No mixed signals. No emotional ambiguity. No half-effort connection. They are done with relationships that drain instead of build. They are done with cycles that create anxiety instead of security. And they recognize that you represent something different. You represent rest. Not boredom. Not stagnation. But stability. They are choosing peace over intensity. Peace that allows growth. Peace that supports purpose. Peace that doesn't require performance. This decision has required maturity. They had to confront their patterns of inconsistency. They had to acknowledge where they avoided responsibility in the past. They had to accept that commitment is not control. Commitment is care. They are learning that commitment does not mean losing themselves. It means bringing their whole self. They are also aware that choosing you means choosing honesty. No emotional hiding. No retreating when conversations get real. No disappearing when vulnerability is required. They are preparing for that. They are adjusting how they communicate, how they listen, how they regulate emotion, because decision without preparation becomes pressure. They want to approach you prepared. Commitment to them now includes spiritual alignment. They are thinking about prayer together, about values, about direction. They are not romanticizing the idea of partnership. They are respecting the responsibility of it. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12 speaks about a cord of 3 strands not easily broken. They want God at the center, not as a phrase, but as a practice. They are aware that choosing you also means choosing accountability. They won't be able to drift. They won't be able to hide behind excuses. They won't be able to live casually. And they are willing. That willingness is the clearest sign of decision. They are no longer debating internally. The inner back and forth has quieted. What remains is resolve. Resolve to step forward with integrity. Resolve to honor what they've been given. Resolve to build slowly but solidly. They know commitment is not proven by words spoken once. It is proven by actions repeated over time. They are ready for that. This is why the energy has shifted. Why the distance feels different. Why the silence no longer feels empty. Decision has been made. Now movement follows. We will continue with number 7, where you'll understand what they are preparing to do next and how this season transitions into action. Stay present. Stay grounded. And if this message has been speaking clearly, subscribe so the final part reaches you as it unfolds. Number 7. Your soulmate is preparing to move from inner alignment to visible action. This is where everything shifts from unseen to tangible. From internal resolve to outward movement. They have spent time in reflection. They have counted the cost. They have confronted fear, respected timing, and made a decision. Now the question is no longer whether. It is how. They are preparing to act in a way that matches the depth of this connection. Not abruptly, not dramatically, but deliberately. They understand that meaningful action must reflect emotional intelligence. It must respect your pace. It must protect your peace. They are not coming to test the waters. They are coming to state intention. And intention changes the atmosphere. Where there was ambiguity, there will be clarity. Where there was uncertainty, there will be direction. They are preparing to speak with honesty rather than impression. Not rehearsed charm. Not emotional persuasion. But truth. Truth about how long you've been on their heart. Truth about why they waited. Truth about what they are now ready to build. They are aware that words alone are not enough. So they are aligning their actions first. They are making room in their schedule. They are adjusting priorities. They are simplifying distractions. Because action that is not supported by structure does not last. Luke 16 verse 10 says, "Whoever is faithful in little will be faithful in much." They are becoming faithful in the unseen so that when they approach you, their presence is consistent. They are also preparing emotionally. They are accepting that vulnerability is not weakness. That expressing intention does not guarantee outcome. That courage does not control response. They are choosing honesty without expectation. That choice matters, because it removes pressure from you. They are not coming to demand a response. They are coming to offer clarity. They are willing to give you space to process. They are willing to let trust build naturally. They are willing to let action speak louder than confession. They know that your heart does not respond to urgency. It responds to safety. So safety is what they are preparing to provide. Emotionally, spiritually, practically, they are thinking about how to communicate consistently, how to show up when life gets busy, how to remain present when challenges arise. This is not about winning your affection. It is about honoring what has already been established in the spirit. They understand that this connection is not something to rush into. It is something to step into with reverence. Psalm 127 verse 1 reminds us that unless the Lord builds the house, the labor is in vain. They want God building this with them, so they are moving prayerfully. They are also aware that action requires risk. They may be misunderstood. They may not be received immediately. They may have to face uncertainty, but they are willing, because inaction now would be disobedience. The clarity they've received demands response. This is why you may feel a shift energetically, why thoughts feel closer, why connection feels nearer even before words are spoken. Alignment precedes action, and alignment is already present. They are not approaching you with promises of perfection. They are approaching with presence, with consistency, with accountability, with humility. They are ready to listen, not just speak. Ready to learn, not just lead. Ready to grow, not just claim. They are aware that trust is built in patterns, not moments. So they are preparing for patterns. Regular communication, clear boundaries, shared values. They are done with confusion. They want something that feels clean, something that brings rest, something that aligns with purpose. And here is what your spirit needs to receive clearly. This action is not about urgency. It is about obedience. When they step forward, it will feel grounded. It will feel steady. It will feel peaceful. Even if nerves are present, peace will lead. Philippians 4 verse 7 speaks of a peace that guards the heart and mind. That peace will be the confirmation. You will not feel rushed. You will not feel pressured. You will feel considered. This is what alignment produces. Action that honors both people. We'll now move into the conclusion, where everything comes together and you'll understand how to receive what's coming without fear or overthinking. Stay present. Stay open. And if this message has met you in a real way, subscribe so you stay connected to what comes next. Take a breath. Let everything you've heard settle. This was never about chasing love. It was about becoming steady enough to receive it. What you've just walked through is not a fantasy about someone thinking of you. It is a revelation about alignment, maturity, and timing. Your soulmate's feelings did not grow in chaos. They matured in silence. What they feel is not urgency. It is readiness. And what is coming toward you is not pressure. It is clarity. The reason this connection feels different is because it was never meant to awaken anxiety. It was meant to confirm peace. Scripture tells us in Isaiah 30 verse 15 that in quietness and trust is strength. That is the posture required now. You don't need to rehearse conversations. You don't need to anticipate outcomes. You don't need to prepare defenses. Overthinking is often an attempt to control what God is already aligning. Your role is not to manage the moment. Your role is to stay open without becoming anxious. Receive without interrogating. Listen without assuming. Respond without fear. When they step forward, let presence speak louder than expectation. Pay attention to consistency more than intensity. Notice peace more than excitement. Peace is the signal. If it feels grounded, it is God-led. If it feels steady, it is safe to explore. You are not being asked to abandon discernment. You are being invited to trust what discernment has already confirmed. You have grown. You have healed. You have learned to pause instead of panic. That growth is what allows this season to unfold differently. You are no longer waiting from lack. You are receiving from wholeness. And wholeness attracts clarity. Let what comes meet you where you are now, not where you were. If conversation begins, stay present. If silence breaks, don't rush to fill it. If intention is expressed, let it land before you respond. There is no need to rush agreement. There is no need to rush outcome. Healthy connection unfolds naturally. Proverbs 20 verse 24 reminds us that the Lord directs our steps. Trust that direction. You don't need to chase confirmation. You don't need to demand certainty. What is aligned will remain. What is real will be consistent. And what is meant to build will not require you to abandon peace to keep it. If this message strengthened you, grounded you, or gave language to what you've been sensing, subscribe now. This space is for depth, clarity, and growth. And before you go, take one more breath. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are positioned. What's coming is not rushed. It is ready, and you will know it by the peace it brings.